this is TCA Gaming, and we are going to do the Q&A for 50,000 subs. I realize we're like 63,000, something like that, but yeah, it's been overdue. And I have about 22 pages here. I just printed it out the way I could copy and paste it directly off the YouTube. I tried doing it by like newest and oldest first, but it kept throwing different ones up at the top that were more popular. So I'll hit those first and then go all the way back to the very last one. If you posted a comment the past couple of days, it may not be on here. I'm hoping to make it through all these, and for that reason I'm probably going to kind of glaze through some of these questions. I think before when I did this, it was like a 6-video series and the views were pretty bad. I tried limiting it to like 20 minutes or so. That just didn't work out. So if I get questions about basically predicting what's going to happen with the market or what's the very best product to invest in, those will most likely be skipped over unless it's something very, very specific and I could just kind of touch on it, because there's a lot of factors that go into that kind of stuff. And on top, in addition to need to know about 10 different things from you just to be able to get started on something like that, I have patrons who do pay for that. So the very first question is from Shinzoo Music, and I don't think he was the first person to post the question. I think he just had the most likes, probably because he's got that nice check mark beside of his name. What are some sealed products you have, you can't part with, or won't open? So there's a lot of sealed products that I won't open. Most sealed products I don't end up opening. Even the new stuff, I set back a lot of things that I like, but like with Celebrations, I did open up some of that stuff. But maybe to focus more on the part where I can't part with, or I just won't part with right now. And it's a lot of my WotC sealed products, sealed promos, the original promos. Many of you know I kind of hoard that stuff. I really like it. I set it back, and I don't think there's as much of like the sealed packs of like 25 and 10 and 8 and that kind of stuff out there as people think. But there are a lot of individual cards. And then the individual sealed promos, there's quite a few. I mean, you'll find like movie cases still out there, 1,200, 1,800 every now and then, but they're getting pretty rare too. All right, Hyper9, in response to Shinzoo Music, what amount of money would it take for you to sell everything TCG related you own? Always been curious, or maybe it's just the way it's indented in. I don't think this is in response to him. Always been curious. To say everyone has a price. The problem is I don't know what all I have, but for me, I wouldn't sell everything unless I just had another way to, like I had a goal to do something with that money, because I bought my house straight out, super cheap. I own my vehicles. I have a good time working on it. Like, I enjoy my work. It gives me something to do other than when I'm with my family, and we're doing okay. So yeah, I'm sure there is a price, but it'd be well over $10 million probably, just because, and I don't even know if my collection's worth that. It's probably not even worth that. But for me, I have no reason to sell it. It's taken so much time to accrue it. One example is my Charizard collection. I had a sports investor reach out to me wanting to buy my Master Charizard set that's in the PSA set registry, plus, and whatever else. And I said, well, I'm not looking to sell, but you're welcome to make an offer. And he was like, okay, I'll give you $500,000 for everything. And I'm like, no. In the most polite way, I said, just the 4 base set Charizards alone are probably worth about that. And for me, I spent so much time assembling the set. Like, I've spent months of my life assembling that set. Why would I liquidate it for the exact market value for someone else? And they don't even have to do any of the work. And I don't even want to sell. So like this guy, he didn't really research at all. He had no idea what he was talking about. He just wanted to buy the collection. So yeah, sure, he probably would have offered a whole lot more if I'd given, a number or a reason or something like that. But, if he's already starting out that low, then he really has no idea what he's doing. So for me, like, I've put so much time into this stuff, it's probably worth more than what the market would want anyways. And there's so much time, like, to accrue all these things. Like, it's literally taken over a decade for me to get some of these items. And I don't think the market always factors that in. All right, next up. Hey Rusty, I've been watching your vids since 2013. Crazy to see how the hobby's changed. It's so wild to see you talk prices then versus now. Anyways, my question is, would you rather be a shark or a train? I guess I'd rather be a shark. trains are massive, but they're stuck on the rails. Sharks can kind of go wherever they want. They're apex predators. They don't really have to depend on anything else other than the food that they eat, in which there's always a pretty good supply of that, and they're the best ones to catch it. So I think they're going to be the last ones to be affected. Kind of like like the highest tier Pokemon cards. They're going to be the last ones affected by a down market like this. Whereas a train, I think it's heavy and it's steady and it moves forward in one direction, but it doesn't have much versatility. So I don't know how deep you want me to go. Bradley Lawson, now that you're also collecting Japanese Charizards for the registry, what is the Charizard you're dreading or worrying about most getting as a 10 now? So for Japanese, I guess the no rarity, just because it's like $250,000. Who knows? Maybe more, maybe less. I really don't know. And bonus, what would you change or add to the PSA registry to make it better? I'd love to be able to do master characters by language. I'd love for them to be able to, well, just in general, I'd love for PSA to be able to grade uncut sheets. But it kind of ticked me off with the PSA registry when the deadline to have requests for the set is usually March 31st of every year. In March 31st, 2020, I literally had every single PSA 10 Charizard every Charizard in PSA 10 condition, so I was 100% complete, everything PSA 10. So I thought I was good. However, somebody had submitted some requests for different Charizards that were non-English at that time, back in January, and they were approved in March. And the deadline was like mid to late March, not mid to late March, mid to late April. And the deadline for where they calculate the results was the end of May, and they were shut down with every service but Express. And that Canadian Master Game Trainer Charizard, or whatever it was, from the game board, that tiny little card, kept me from getting the overall set registry award for Charizards for the entire 2020, because I had to go find one, buy one, and then the only way that I would ever get one is submit it to Express, because there was only like 1 or 2 graded. So that was really frustrating. I literally had every card in PSA 10 condition, and then random cards that weren't even trading cards were thrown into the registry at the last second, and there was no way for me to be able to get it anyway. So I'm not really pursuing that as hard anymore, since to me they don't take it as serious as they should. I do like it for tracking, but that'd be one thing that I would add to it. Hey Rusty, thanks for doing the Q&A. This is from Jake F. In the previous video, something that you said always stuck with me. You have to both buy and sell in this hobby. What differentiates something that you would definitely add to your collection versus something that you'd be willing to part with from your collection? So I'll stop there before I go into the next part, because it looks like there's another question. So a lot of times it can be the market, it could be the price that it takes for me to buy the item versus sell the item. It could also be goals. Last year I sold a first edition Charizard. I sold all 5 first edition English Charizards so I could acquire the base set first edition uncut sheet. So I didn't want to sell that stuff. It was kind of the pinnacle of what I was wanting, but I needed to move quickly. So I had a goal that trumped it at the time. So I think a lot of times it's your goals. I know you have many complete sets, but how much value do you place on the sentimentality of an item compared to its market value? Well, there's no set ratio. Every card can be different. But for me, I like all those WotC 10s that I just got back from PSA. It was like, 13 of them in that recent video? Well, I just sent them back. I was like, I know the market's low right now. And, for me, I'd rather just hold on to them for the price that they would bring. I can sell other stuff, As long as I can sell something less sentimental and that I can acquire much more easily later on, then I'm going to go with that. And, yeah, I think the market value really does take on that, take on a bigger percentage than you might think, because going back to what Hyper said, yeah, everyone does have a price. And let me just, this is my wife. Right now, my father-in-law, he's in the hospital. I just want to let her know. So if I do get off, it's because of that, and I'll just pause it, I'll bring it back. Alright, let's go to the next one. Kyle, well that's one page out of 22. It might end up being a very long video. Kyle Benke. Oh man, I probably butchered that. What are your long-term goals? We know the PSA 10 on all Charizard variants, English and Japanese. Are you working on one of every booster box or pack ever made? Are there cards that you want that are just too expensive? I actually have every box except for base first edition box now. But only in English. I don't really care about the other languages. I think that's a rabbit hole. Already, the variants in English is pretty much a rabbit hole. The packs I'm not so worried about because I have the boxes. And I did have a few complete pack collections that have went through my hands, and I just kind of I've kind of just let them sell. In fact, there'll be a video probably late January or early February. Someone bought that collection that I showed to you guys here on eBay, and they're going to come pick them up. Now, there are cards that are just too expensive for me. I mean, there's a lot of trophy cards I'd love to have, but they're just out of my range right now, especially for how I value them versus the WotC stuff, which is what I really connect with. I know it's a cliche, but I didn't really play with the trophies. I never went to the tournaments and got to see them, and I do like them. Yeah, I mean, I'd love to have an illustrator or any of the other trophies, but they don't really connect me back to my childhood in the same way. So if I can get, 10 base set boxes versus, one trophy, I'm probably going to go with the 10 base set boxes. Even though it may not be the best play or the best bet in the long run, to me, it's just, I'm going to have a lot more connection to that. All right, Jesse says, hey, Rusty, thanks for the great video. I watched them all. My question is, what is your single most favorite item in your collection? Not most valuable, but the one card that means the most to you. I don't know if I have a single one. I can tell you some off the top of my head that I really like. I like the Alakazam that's non-FPO. It's basically one of a kind that I know of. And it's a test card. Kind of takes me back to a time when I was still growing and struggling and getting started, taking on Pokemon as a full-time business, and I caught a break with a WotC employee. And I didn't sell it. I kept it. I like the Blastoise PSA 10 no stage, and the reason I say that card specifically, I bought it off of somebody who ended up grading through me. I don't do that anymore. Please don't ask. But it was the second one I had ever graded in the PSA 10. This one wasn't mine. I did buy it off of him, but I was so happy to actually get one of those back. I think it's only still like a pop 6 to this day, and the way that smudge is on the stage and how hard they are with grading WotC hollows, I just don't know if there'll ever be, more added to the pop on that. All right, Sam Millsley, or Millsy. Hi, Rusty. So I bought Pokemon from you for around 9 years now, and I remember the first edition PD era base set Charizard. Man, you're going to remind me of that. And I still, to this day, regret not buying it when I had the opportunity. So my question is, have you ever sold something and really wish you hadn't now looking back? Yeah, that was one of them. That one right there, $2,500 for the PD PSA 9 first edition base set Charizard, and it was a beauty. But the one that comes to mind off the top of my head is I sold. Well, there's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of stuff, but the Jungle Mock-Up pack. I ended up getting like $800 for that in auction. I was kind of clearing out. I was transitioning from the shop to this place where I built kind of what you see right now, and I sold that thing. I put it in auction, and it didn't go for much at all. And I think there's somebody online now asking like $100 and some thousand. Of course, that's way overpriced, but still, at $800, I would have just had fun opening up, see what's inside. I mean, who knows? Maybe it's a pack of first edition, Ivy Pikachus, because from the pack art, people think that's why it most likely was intentionally put into the first edition jungle packs. All right, Ashton Morrill, what you got started making YouTube content, and what got you more involved in, or with the community? I started watching at 5K and have watched nearly every video. Keep up the amazing work and good luck with your family. So what got me started was I wanted to actually video opening up those test packs. It was Legendary Collection 5-card packs, and inside were the FPOs. So I wanted to video this so that people could see it. So I pulled out my camera. I mean, it was like, this little $20 Walmart camera, and I set it on some books, and I turned that thing to record instead of taking pictures. And you go see it, it's pretty grainy. But that was the first video that I made, and I basically showed, those FPO, the 4-position only packs. I mean, that goes back to the same time that, that I was talking about, where I pulled out that Alakazam and several other things that really helped me catch a break in getting started with some funding. Now, getting more involved in the community, that was just general interest. I genuinely wanted to be involved and get more information. And I think when you're searching around for different cards, you get excited. I mean, you're going to be involved. You're going to be reaching out to people. They're going to be reaching out to you. A lot of times you hit doors, but you know those doors might open up later on. So don't burn any bridges along the way. All right, Diego's Grados. How big is your collection actually? Haha. Wondering, since I see you adding new pieces constantly, would be nice with a collection video showing those babies. I mean, there's no way I can show in a video. I have trouble showing off just what I get in videos. But it's small enough to fit inside of a 1,000 square foot building where the top is basically shipping. Well, that's what you see up here now. In the bottom, I now have my mother-in-law and my father-in-law living in their own separate rooms. And then the other part of it is actual shipments and eBay active listings. I try to compact it pretty often, so like I'll get rid of big things or break them down. And but how big? I really don't know. Dosey Do. Do you ever plan on selling your entire collection? I remember you had your collection sale for sale a few years back for $500K. I did, and yeah, I plan to sell eventually, or I'll end up dying, and then my wife will send it all to Trolling Toad, or she'll send it to Charlie, and he can sell it and do stuff with it. But at the moment, I have no intentions of selling. But like I said, if somebody come along and they're like, "Hey, here's $50 million," I'll be like, "Okay, that's worth way more than what I have here." So yeah, I would sell it for that. No, I'm curious about your thoughts on staff cards, most notably the future of staff cards from Evolutions. With it being Pop 38 and not many copies existing to begin with, can this card develop into a modern Grail card? What do you like and dislike about it in terms of its potential? So in terms of potential, the thing I like about it is there's probably not many out there that are in great condition, that are ungraded. The reason I say this is when you got in those boxes back around Evolutions, they were not sealed like they kind of are now. I think they've done away with staff altogether, but they weren't sealed. They were just stuck in a cardboard box on top of like energies. And I remember with one set, I mean, they're like bent over the cards. I mean, like they didn't care. So I'm surprised that many of them even graded at PSA 10, other than the fact that there's still a lot of them out there relative. Who knows the exact number? But I don't see that Pop 38 going to Pop 50 anytime soon, or Pop 100 ever. If it does, it would really surprise me. Somebody will have to have some hoard that they pulled from the factory, or that they bought up all at the beginning and did never submit them. I mean, it'd be really surprising. Think of how many Charizards in general, from that set graded to 10. Like, it's pretty tough. Now you gotta have a staff. Like, almost no new stores were popping up at that time because it was really tough to get in. God's Quad Clips. What do you think about investing in Modern? I think that now that everyone knows about investing in Pokemon, the sealed product from Sun and Moon and Sword Shield will be worth a lot less than other products like EX through Black and White era. Well, the thing about the Sun and Moon and Sword Shield stuff is it was printed a lot, but I mean, think of how many more people are active in the community. For a while, it surprised me. PSA 10s from new sets, bringing $1,000, $500. I mean, that was basically unheard of for the longest time. But I think there's a new ceiling on a lot of this stuff, and to me, I think if you're buying at the bottom, I mean, you've got a lot of room for potential. Like, even if your box you pay, say, $100 for, when it's at its low, you sit on it for 10 years. You don't think it's going to go to 200 or 500? I mean, it took base set a long time. It took 10 years for that box to move. But once it started moving, it kept moving, and it kept moving, and it kept moving. So I think they have better potential to move faster than even eras like WotC, but who really knows? I mean, like I said, I can't really predict the future on all that. Ben Davis, been very curious. How do you manage your business and family life? It's tough, dude. Like right now, I'm kind of doing the same time. My mom, she's right below me. She knows to keep her TV down. And my wife, she is at the hospital with my father-in-law. The kids are at school. I got to finish soon enough to be able to probably pick them up because she's probably going to be stuck at the hospital. He's going into surgery again. Whenever he gets out, if he ever seems to get out, he seems to always be there. He's going to be living here, literally in my shop. I gave up an entire section. I built that section. I framed it. I put the electrical in. I did the sheetrock, sanded it, painted it, put the button on it, did the doors, everything. Now we're moving them in. I mean, it's hard. And I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. I mean, there's really no easy way to do it. You just have to find the time for what's important. Sometimes you have to put off other things, and you got to wake up early every morning. And at night, you might need to go to bed, right after you put the kids down. All right, KD. Let's see. Is there anything else? Oh yeah, you always have so much going on. Number 2, how into collecting and playing the TCGs are your older children? Well, my oldest child is only 6. So they're not really into it that much, but they get really excited when I give them stuff like the Pikachu VMAX figure. I gave them a few of those. They broke them pretty quickly. The halo comes off, whatever. I don't know what it is. But I gave them a jumbo collection binder. They really like that, but they're not into it too much yet. My daughter's 4 now, slowly growing to love opening packs and seeing all the different Pokemon. If they took better care of them, I would give them more cards. But right now they're not taking care of them, so they're not getting them. It's not that I don't have the cards, obviously I do, but if they're not going to be responsible and take care of them, I'm not going to let them have them, even if it's just energies. I think that, whatever my children do have, they can earn it, do whatever they want to with it, but if it's a gift, then I want them to take care of it. All right, Katie Krebs, it seems you store your collection at your home, though I can't believe that to be true. Without giving too much info, what safety measures do you have set in place for such as big, valuable collections? Well, I live in a kind of a different place. I don't live in the city. You cannot come down our road without us knowing. I always have somebody here. My mom actually lives in this place. We have security systems. I have dogs. I have guns. I have got another room. This is a one-way street. This is going to sound racist, but when white people come down my street, that's when I'm concerned, because there's only one white family on our street and everyone else is not. And we love playing with them. They're like the apocalypse people. They're Hmong. I don't know how big the Hmong community is around where you are. I think North Carolina used to have the second biggest population of Hmong, but man, they are so awesome. They keep to themselves, but they'll also bring you spring rolls. They've got chicken houses everywhere, and this might sound weird, but the houses actually look pretty bad. So when you're coming down by a dirt road, you'd never suspect that anything is here. So I really enjoy having them as neighbors, and we know the only other people down at the end of the street as well. So it would be tough to even get down here. Like in the middle of the night, when I hear something outside, like I'm running outside in my bare feet, shining lights, chasing stuff around my house. Like I've chased raccoons. I've chased what sounded like a bobcat that was attacking a random cat that we had that just showed up. I've chased foxes. This is going to sound weird. I've chased a cow before down the street. And cows are fast. I lost a cow in the woods. I mean, this is a full-grown cow. And this is going to sound even stranger, but I was chasing after that cow with a dog leash, thinking I was going to tie it around its neck and then lead it back to wherever it was supposed to go. I've got some weird stuff on my cameras, but I've got a lot of things in place, so I feel better here at home with most of my collectibles. There's certain things that I keep in different places, but for the most part, this is where I like keeping my collection, because I feel the most safe with it under my own wing, rather than having to depend on someone else's safety box, or they're safe getting moisture in it because they don't know how to dehumidify, or something like that. So for a short answer, there's your long answer. Lupu, hi TCA, since everyone is keeping a lot of products sealed, do you think Pokemon is worth investing in now? I mean, I do. Again, I mean, you'd have to be really specific to know, a definite yes or no. But yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people are investing for a lot of reasons. Simon Gamer 987, enjoy watching you collect more Japanese cards. Do you have plans to pick up any older sealed Japanese boxes? I don't at the moment. I gotta focus. If I don't focus, man, I end up blowing my entire wallet. So no, not at the moment. Playscape Games, what are your early impressions on the quality of the Charizard Holo from Celebrations? Do you think it will be the easiest base set Charizard to grade as a 10? Yes, I believe it will be the easiest by far of the base set Charizard Holos to grade in a 10. Ryan W, what are some of your lowest pop or generally really rare cards that you're proud of owning or even want to own in the future? Thinking along the lines of something like the Stadium Challenge, the Deoxys, always thought cards like those are really cool, and I know there are a lot more on the Japanese side of things. Probably the English verse, the TMB, the Tropical Mega Battle. That one took me the longest to hunt down. I mean, there are cards still on my list I'm looking for, but I could attain them. That one was just, like, I don't have a single one of those in a PSA 10. But, I've got a 7 or 6 to 9 set, mostly 7s and 8s. That one I'm definitely the most proud of. D. Hunter Todd, what are some hidden gems worth collecting that aren't often talked about? For me, it's the Japanese vending series, since the art is so unique. I feel like more and more people are learning about it, though. So, hidden gems that are not, or that are worth talking about. I'll be honest with you, a lot of stuff is optimized. A lot of stuff is it's out there. For me, I always collected the original Wizards of the Coast promos. You can make a binder set of the original 53 minus the Lucky Stadium and the Pokemon Center for pretty cheap. You know, I could probably rattle off the entire 53, you know, in order, because I've done so many of those. In fact, let's see if we can do it. Number 1, you know, that's the Pikachu Ivy. The number 2, Electabuzz. 3, Mewtwo. 4 is Dragonite. 5 is 4 is the Pikachu. 5 is Dragonite. 6 Arcanine. 7 Jigglypuff. 8 Mew. 9 Mew Hollow. 10 Meowth. 11 that's the Eevee. 12 is the Mewtwo from Nintendo Power. 13 is the Venusaur from Nintendo Power. 14 is the Mewtwo from the movie. 15 is Cool Porygon. 16 Computer Error. 17 Dark Persian. 18 Team Rocket's Meowth. 19 Sabrina's Abra. 20 Psyduck. 21 you've got the Moltres. 22 Articuno. 23 Zapdos. 24 Birthday Pikachu. 25 Flying Pikachu. Then you got Snap Pikachu for 26. Bumblebee Pikachu. 27. And this is boring, but I've got to do it now. 28 Surfing Pikachu. 29 Meryl. 30 Togepi. 31 Cliffa. 32 Smeargle. 33 Scizor. 34 Entei. 35 Pichu. 36 Igglybuff. 37 is what's 37 getting me? 138 is unknown. 37 Hitmontop. 38 unknown. 39 Misdreavus. 40 is Pokemon Center. 41 is Lucky Stadium. 42 is Pokemon Tower. 43 is Machamp. 44 Magmar. 45 Scyther. 46 is Electabuzz. 47 is Mew, the Lilypad, which is a rock. 48 is Articuno. 49 is Snorlax Z. 50 is Celebi. 51 is Ho-Oh. No, 51 is Rapidash. 52 is Ho-Oh. 53 is Suicune. And then some people put the Ancient Mew as the last one. And like, they're so easy to collect. You could find played versions for really cheap, and you could make an entire binder of all of the original promos that were put out for Wizards of the Coast, basically from inception all the way up through e-readers. So I think those were pretty cool, and that was a weird answer to your question, but I kind of challenged myself, so I had to do it. All right, in Everett, hey man, have been watching your videos for a long time now, but what I would like to know is, what do you enjoy the most? I mean, related to your videos, I love the part where you explain about certain cards you bought. I think I enjoy just the collecting and the assembling of the sets, seeing things kind of come together. Binder collections are great for that. I've kind of stopped doing them just because I was accruing so many binders, and you know, when you're trying to do PSA stuff too, it's hard to focus on that. So for me, like, that's why I like the registry. I can kind of see where I'm at, and then you tick it off, and then as soon as you put in that, you know, that upgrade from a 9 to a 10, or you add another card to your collection, you get to see that percentage. You know, get a little closer to perfect. You get to see your rating a little closer to perfect. So that's something that I do like about the registry. All right, Chavals. Congrats. My question is, did you feel a big shift in the perception people have of you since Pokemon boomed? People in general and close to you, were you ridiculed for doing this business instead of being a teacher? Now they must think you are either lucky or a genius all along. So I was in a bit of a different situation. Nobody in my family really has ever had money. And so, like, even when I was in college, I was making more than my dad, who was disabled. My mom was laid off. Eventually, she both her hips have been replaced and her back's done. I mean, she eventually was on disability as well. So, I mean, they basically made nothing. I've always helped them with funds. Helped out other people in my family, and then my wife's family. Everybody thinks it's a joke. You know, when I first mention it, when I first meet somebody, they're like, the very first thing they say is, "Oh, you make money at that?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I do. Yeah, we actually do really well." And so I guess in their mind, they probably ridicule me, but I've never really had that to my face. Nobody's ever said anything to me about it. Even when I got out and, you know, I had my license to be a teacher, I just jumped into Pokemon full time. And my dad, honestly, you know, he was probably my biggest fan, and my mom, she's always been supportive of that kind of stuff. And I mean, they couldn't really ridicule me at all. Anyways, I mean, even through like high school and through college, you know, I was helping them out financially, because maybe one day I'll do a video and I'll show you guys where I grew up, and maybe you'll understand a little bit better. I definitely do not come from money. I mean, to give you an idea, I was cooking a Hot Pocket earlier today, and I was so surprised because I put it on 4 minutes, and it made the thing go super crispy and black. And I'm thinking I should have stuck to the 2 minutes that it recommended. But in my house, our microwave was so old, it would take 7 minutes to cook a Hot Pocket. And not only that, to turn it on, you had to have pliers because the knob was broken off, and it was so rusted on there, like you had to take it to the metal knob and twist it. And then you could put on 7 minutes and you come back and then it would be done. And it was kind of like that with a lot of stuff. I didn't have a shower till high school. There's still no hot water in the sink in the bathroom. And then even then the shower was kind of like, a trickle. I mean, you really couldn't take a shower. The pipes, I mean, they were just so corroded through. We had asbestos on the outside of our house. I mean, still to this day. I mean, there's just a lot of things like that. I mean, I think people sometimes believe that I kind of come from money. It just accrued over time, and I can live with basically nothing. So I really don't have a reason to spend. So I think that's kind of like snowballed into saving over time, and then it really exploded. I mean, I did get lucky in some aspects because Pokemon is not exactly a safe asset. But if it had been safe, then it probably wouldn't have exploded either. So I mean, took risks in certain areas because I wasn't a slave to debt. I didn't have a need to put it somewhere else. So putting it into money was still better than me going and buying a beer or even buying a sweet tea when I go sit down in a restaurant, because you pay $3 and you pay tax on top of that, and you pay tip and tax on your tip. I mean, that kind of stuff runs through my head. All right, so Tanner Bryant, what is your thoughts on PSA 7s and 8s on sets like Shadows, First Edition, Base, and there's some Symbol Jungle? So they're at a really good price point right now. I just had a lot of those auctions go through for 7s and 8s. And some of those First Edition base set PSA graded 7s, which is still a near mint grade, were like $20. Some of the 8s were under $30. I mean, that's a really good price point to me. You're already getting the fully graded and acknowledged condition of the card by a professional company. You're not having to pay the grading fee at all. And it's beating out the price of it raw. So to me, I think we're going to start seeing a little bit of an inflection. Joseph Green, how did you start and grow your business? I understand that's a big question. Maybe at just what point did you start working with distributors? And how did you scale up? I started, I guess technically in 2008 when I got to college with nothing, no startup money, no startup collection, just some cards that I had when I was a kid. And back then my total collection worth might have been less than $40. And I probably couldn't have sold it in an auction for $40 if I put it all up for auction. And I had an almost complete base, almost complete fossil, almost complete jungle. And I took it on full time when I graduated in 2012. And then I started working with distributors in 2013. Small time, kind of like Potomac and Hills, places that you don't need a resale license for. And I think in 2013 or 2014, I started working with Matt Owls, and then later on it was PhD. I did Alliance, I did Diamond, did Southern Hobby, GTS. I worked with several different distributors, and I stuck with a few of them after I shut down the store in 2018 or something like that. Jared P., do you think lottery systems actually help relieve the price gouging of scalpers? Japanese product is still 3x MSRP, which is just as bad if not worse than English products. Would like your thoughts on lottery systems and the possibility or the possible adoption of it into the U.S. Pokemon Center. Thanks. I'll be honest with you, I don't know much about them. I don't participate in those. If that's where you basically put your name in and they draw out, a set amount of people that's going to get the product, that's better than having to compete with bots, I guess. I don't know how to use a bot, and I've tried getting on the second some things release and still don't get the items. But sounds better than that, but I just don't know enough about it to give you guys accurate information. Japanese being 3 times MSRP, yeah, that's pretty bad. I mean, I think the worst offender in English is what the Ultra Premium, and that's right at 3 times. But that product, they should have known. They should have known that was going to be crazy. And then they allocate you. They allocate everybody. I went to a GameStop the other day. I just walked in because I got to a meeting early and we were going to have lunch. And I was like, let me just walk over to GameStop, see what they have. And they had like a Rayquaza deck or something like that. And I was like, so how many Ultra Premiums did you get? And she's like, I don't even know what you're talking about. I don't think they got any, you know, and they ended up giving me like a Snorlax or something like that. But, you know, when not every GameStop is getting, you know, one of those products, you know, kind of makes you think, you know, how allocated was this product? But everybody wants it. Of course, everybody's going to want a base set Charizard, a base set Pikachu that looks like it's gold and it's metal, and then you also, on top of that, you get another gold Pikachu V, a Pokeball, Pokeball. You get 17 packs, and you get other packs. I mean, there's just so much going on with something like that. I think it might be nice once Pokemon ramps up printing, as I hear they're going to do, which I have no internal information myself about. But if they do that, then, you know, it'll bring the price down, and then it's going to be super flooded. You know, is that what we really want? All right, John. Hey, Russ, it's been a long time. Sub to your channel and wondered what your opinion is on the influx of new grading companies is. Well, there's just opportunity there. I mean, whenever there's opportunity, I mean, PSA's not grading bulk. CGC's pretty backed up. I don't know if they're grading or not. Forget about VGS. I mean, you could have forgot about that a long time ago. So there's opportunity. Somebody needs to be grading them, and if you can manufacture those plastic cases for $2 and call yourself an expert and grade the cards, why not, right? Especially if you're going to get 10,000 subs a week, 100,000 subs a week, a million subs, say in a year. What was that? $5 million maybe, if you factor in another $3 in cost on top of the, man, it's, who knows what the actual numbers are, but there's a lot of opportunities, so I think that's why. Do you think they will fail, or maybe one or two rise up and take a bit of the big two market share? Well, the problem is even PSA slab prices are really falling on the lower end of things, which that's going to be the majority of what's being graded through these startup companies. It's going to be the lower end stuff. Possibly higher end, but really there's no reason. If you have a $100,000 card, or say a $1,000 card, you know, you're paying $150 to have it graded at PSA. You know, it's already going to make up that $150 in value for the difference that the PSA label will put on it over, say, some DBZ label that gets stuck on there. Don't abandon Brandon. What are some Sword and Shield booster boxes that you think will appreciate in value? They'll all appreciate in time as long as there is an apocalypse. As for specific ones that I personally like, as much as I don't like the Amazing Rares, I still like Vivid Voltage. Darkness Ablaze is kind of cool. I mean, we've already seen it appreciate, but really all it has is that VMAX Charizard in there. I don't really like Rebel Clash. I don't like Rebel Clash. That's Sun and Moon. I don't like Battle Styles, but I think some people do. Evolving Skies is going to be kind of unique, I think, to watch. We still haven't had Wave 2 or Wave 3, you know, guaranteed that crap by distributors, you know, at the end of September, and then, you know, beginning of October, and now it's the end of October, we still don't have it, so depends on how much gets printed, but I think that's a good set. Who knows what the future sets, you know, coming out. Gabrielle Marola, what are the rarest cards now in PSA 10 that you've graded yourself? That was one of those PSA 10s. For example, maybe Neo Genesis T17. I didn't grade the T17. Probably there's an Expedition Skarmory that I've been hounded about for quite a while about, that I graded, and it come back a 10. But I don't have any of the big cards like T17 that I graded, or a Slowking, or an Ampharos. That Blastoise No Stage was technically somebody else's card. I did grade it, but it was somebody else's. I graded one, but I don't have it anymore. Like I graded one of the first ones that was a PSA 10. Link Joker 1. If you could fluently speak and read any language, which language would it be? I don't know, man. I don't think about these things. Spanish, Japanese, Chinese. Probably one of those. I think most people in Europe, they know English. Most people probably in Asia know English as well, but there's so many. I wouldn't mind knowing, if there weren't so many dialects for places like India, I'd say like whatever the most common language is over there. But because that's where my brother does mission work. He does mission work in India. What's one card graded raw you can't believe is as expensive as it currently is? I don't know. I have cards that I'm hoping will come down. Like there's a lot of Bandai and Cardass Japanese PSA 10s that I'm kind of hoping that some will hit auction. because I don't think that they'll do that great. I remember there was that Charizard Prism one that I showed you guys I picked up in an auction at PWCC for like $600, but the lowest on eBay was like 7,000. Like, there was such a disparity there. But there was multiple at that price. So it was like the price was being distorted. Some of the Neo Genesis Hollows I think are like that. Like every time I see the Meganium listed at 32,000 or whatever it is, and the Heracross at 40,000 or 90,000, like those are just way too much. Like nobody's going to pay that. I feel like it's being kind of distorted in a way. 3. Despite Pokemon being your bread and butter, is there anything you prefer about Yu-Gi-Oh? I love the gameplay. I like how I can relate, I don't know, to the, like it's harder to pull the ultra rares from a box. You only got 2 ultra rares, 1 secret rare in a box. And in the old stuff, I don't know about the new stuff. I have opened up some boxes where you get like an entire pack of ultra rares. But it used to be pretty tough to pull that really tough stuff. You get 4 super rares, you get 2 ultra rares, and then 1 secret rare, typically in a booster box. And I don't know how much that changed. So 7 out of 24 packs versus where, like Pokemon, you get 12 hollows in every 36 packs. Alright, I'm going to turn this page, I'm going to take a break and get a little bit of water, and then I'm going to come right back. Yeah, let's push that thing, hopefully it's on. Well, I didn't get a water, we were out of water, but my father-in-law has a couple of cases of Grape Crush. I don't think you can buy that around here right now. They do a lot of the Fanta. Don't you want a Fanta? But I think people say Fanta, so it's always kind of weird for me. Man, running up and down those stairs real quick. So for those of you who don't know, this is a loft about 9 feet off the ground. And I've got a 6-foot ladder. So what I do is I run up the ladder and then I basically stand on top of it and then kind of do like this little leaping over fence deal. But I guess doing it really quick and then trying to drink a little bit of soda along the way can get me out of breath. Maybe I'm just out of shape because I haven't done any basketball. I stopped working out after like the 4th or 5th time or something like that. But I haven't done basketball in about a week. I did a little bit of playing down at the court. Even my brother, when he come up, he was like, "Hey dude, I bought this Charizard hoodie at a local yard sale, and I told the guys I would get my brother TCA Gaming to dunk in it." So like he come down there and he gave me this his hoodie, and I put it on, and I did. But like my 10-foot dunk isn't like nothing crazy, especially when I'm cold. But I have a lot of fun on like a 9-foot goal. Now that can be fun. Maybe one day I'll show you this game we made up. It's called like this tap game, and it's a lot of fun. But you can play it with 2, 3, 4 players. Usually 3 is about optimal. We all work together to get points. Anyways, back on topic. Pokemon 2019. What exactly don't you buy anymore? Well, I don't know. Well, right now I'm not buying a whole lot. I'm actually consigning most everything while I'm watching the market. But I guess I don't really buy PSA 9 WotC stuff at the moment, unless it's certain cards. I mean, I would. I mean, especially if there's resale opportunity. However, it's not something that like I seek out. Even the 10s, I don't really seek them out unless it's on my list, which you guys know where the wants list is. I know you mentioned something about not selling singles anymore. And also, no, you basically ended up with a huge box of rare singles. Well, yeah, I don't really sell singles anymore because I just don't feel like it, but I still do buy them. In fact, I set back basically everything I got from Celebrations and opened up packs. I put in sleeves and sorted, and then I stuck in a box, and I'm gonna just let it sit for a while. You know, maybe 20 years from now, somebody like, "Hey, I'd love to collect a Celebration set." I'm like, "Yeah, I got a couple sets right here, not 50 sets." You know, they weren't high enough quality for you to, or they weren't high enough quality for you to deal with. So with the singles, they were kind of damaged, or really damaged, and I definitely didn't have time for them. I knew Troll and Toad wouldn't take them. So that's why I let my nephew sell them. I told him he was going to take pictures and describe it well, or he's going to get bad feedback. And I know he sold through quite a bit of it. He's starting to get into the troubles with. He sold to a guy in Chile, and he got the customs notice. Didn't want to pay it. Didn't show delivery. Of course, eBay side's on, that buyer side. And now the guy could go pay the customs if he wanted to and just keep the cards and not have to worry about the charge. What will you always buy? Probably sealed WotC promos. Would you still be interested in the right singles if they were in immaculate condition, PSA 8 through 10 candidates? Yeah, I have one guy who reaches out to me with non-WotC or non-sealed WotC promos all the time. But yeah, if people reach out to me and they've got a reasonable price and it's easy enough for me to buy them from them, yeah, I do buy them. But it's not something that I buy a ton of anymore because it's just harder to work with. Like, it's a whole lot easier to work with, an item that's $500 that I can buy for $400 versus $104 or $105 items that I can sell for $4 each, and then I got to deal with 100 buyers. All right, Medicine, where do you think the modern and vintage markets are heading in the near future in terms of prices? Sorry, man, that's just way too vague in terms of like predicting the future. But a lot of people, including me, thought that this was going to be the prime of this year. Well, at least we were going to see an uptick after July, but on my end, I've actually seen things kind of slow down. Higher end stuff is doing okay, but some of the mid to lower tier stuff went down quite a bit more. So that probably has to do with PSA actually flooding back with a lot of PSA stuff. I've been surprised at how many orders have been pushed through. So I think it's just an influx of supply right now, even though I actually believe there's a higher demand right now. Danikin Zero. Do you have a set schedule that you created for yourself in order to keep up with all the different aspects of your business? So, pretty much get up in the morning. I've got my Bible. I read that. I answer questions, and then as soon as I get through with answering all the questions that I need to answer, usually if you ask something about, hey, can I have another picture? Can I have 10 more pictures? Can you flip this card upside down and show that it's in the light and it's a certified PSA card? That kind of stuff I put off, but then I do that. Then I do shipping. My wife will actually package the shipments unless she just doesn't have time. Like tomorrow, she's going to be at school teaching or helping teach from 8 to 12, so I'll have to do that part of it. And then about 9 o'clock, I'll take care of my son, get him up, unless my wife does that. Change his diaper, feed him, eat breakfast myself. Then I'll come back over and I'll answer more questions, maybe do a little bit of IG, social work. Every now and then I have time to do YouTube videos, take trash, do mail, pick up kids, do lunch with kids. Honestly, after about 10, 11 o'clock, who knows what's going to happen. Deoxys Collects. What is your favorite moment that you can remember that had something to do with Pokemon? Probably buying that collection out in Jonesboro, Arkansas. That was so cool. Seeing this shut down, raggedy, like Japanese diner type deal, and going inside, it's just like lined with Pokemon all in it. Crazy amounts of stuff. I mean, just to give you an idea, I believe the National Championship Charizards from the X-Dragon in the binder, that was the one that had the least of. I think there were between 25 and 30 of those, and there was just huge amounts of the Charmander, Charmeleon. The binder for the verse was like this thick. I mean, there was probably 12 complete verse series in there. Remember, there's 28 complete WotC Black Star promo sets I could make. I mean, it was almost unfathomable. But that was fun. That was a lot of fun. All right, Jofferson. Hey, I really like the current price point on sealed Greninja stars. Do you think it's a good bulk buy and hold? Actually, I bought about 92 of them myself. I did that at basically the $10 price point because I thought it was a good deal too. I actually expect them to go down. I don't think they'll hit $5, but it's a gold star. But it's not like gold star rarity. It's just it has a gold star there, and but it's still pretty cool. It is a Greninja, it's sealed, still gradable. I think it's a safe buy. And it has potential in the future, but again, who knows where it's going to go. What are your thoughts on picking up more 8s and 9s than just getting a few 10s? Yeah, you could always do that. 10s are a lot of times more risky because they cost a whole lot more money, but they have a lot more potential too to go up. For me, I'm buying some 8s and 9s with the Japanese stuff now because I realized the 10s, they're going to come, but for now I need to fill in the holes. All right, we have Pokemon 2019. Was that the same one from before? Oh yeah, it was. How many questions you asked me? How's that basketball court look? It looks really awesome. You're using it often in your quest to get into better shape. I'm not using it as often as I'd like. But yeah, it's complete. Usually when I go down, it's just to play around, dunk a little bit, work on my calluses some. They're not up to snuff right now. You can see them a little bit maybe. But yeah, we had fun when my brother come up. I had one of my friends come over too, and we actually played on 8 foot, 9 foot, 9.5 feet, and 10 feet, and it was just a lot of fun, you know, messing around. Have you been grading cards, or are you waiting for PSA to open up their other tiers? Yeah, I've been grading. Been doing some Express. I've been very picky with it. I've actually done some pack stuff until they shut that down, and who knows what's going to happen with that. I still haven't got a response yet. 444 mutation. From a business perspective, how do you justify spending hundreds, thousands of dollars on cards for your personal collection rather than feeding it back into your revenue? Is it more along the lines of, well, I can just sell this if I need to, or is the business just that good? Haha. Well, a lot of times I don't do long-term holds. I might do a hold for 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, because once you come around that year time frame, you know, sometimes I can get a little bit more expensive. But I've just seen how it's grown, and I try to pick up things here and there out of the excess instead of like what's needed to buy things. I always make sure that I have certain set amounts for money to be able to buy the product that does feed the business. And a lot of times it feeds, like it's just good, like press for like IG and YouTube and that kind of stuff. Like, I'll go into more of this later on, but those packs, you know, those Neo Genesis packs, I could have sold those, but instead I sent them to PSA before, and you know, they were busted, but you know, it made content on YouTube, and I still made money, you know, from that content. So while I'm out completely on the value of what the packs would have been, you know, if they were just kept sealed or graded sealed, you know, I still made some money back in that way, and that kind of plays into it. You know, I've got social media platforms that kick in extra revenue, which I didn't always have that. Stephen Kassoon, can you do a collection update? Honestly, man, anytime I show you guys a video, I'm showing you guys stuff in my collection. I don't show everything, but there's reasons I don't show everything. And probably the last time I showed a good portion of it was if you go to Pokebay when he did the Vault videos, and there was a couple videos there. Those were probably the closest thing you're going to get. Are you getting into Japanese cards? Maybe like really high-end stuff, and then just Charizards. What's the most expensive card you own? Probably the base first edition PSA 10 Charizard, or the no rarity Top Sun. You know, that one went for $493, then it went for like way less, $200,000, $300,000. I mean, it was like, I can't remember if it was $191 or $291. It went for way less. I didn't really keep up with it. I didn't care at the moment, but it was also through, it was kind of a weird type thing where auction houses can be weird when you're bidding on big stuff. What's the value of your collection now? Again, I don't even know. And are you bullish on the future of the hobby? I'm just kind of doing the same thing I've always done, keeping what I want, selling what I don't, and it's always worked for me, and hopefully it does. It keeps on working for me. David Spirito, hey Rusty, my question is, what's your best card ever printed by the Pokemon TCG? Mine is Entei Gold Star from Unseen Forces. You're the best. The best artwork, I like the Mewtwo from Expedition. Whew, are we even halfway done? I feel like I'm going to get super skimpy here. I got 4, 8, 12. I got 14 pages left. I think I'm going to run out of memory space. I'm going to have to transfer some of this over. Berkshire Pokemon, other than Watsu, do you know of any variations in packs for any sets? Yeah, I mean, we actually showed a lot of the holo, non-holo stuff for the most recent sets, all the way back to Sun and Moon, but I've actually seen that for some of the Black and White era as well. I am a steel pack collector, and when you started mentioning holo pack wrappers, there you go, and the CE versus CUK, CA on the back, new packs made me think, am I missing anything other than the 4 packs from the EX through the Sun and Moon eras? Thanks. Well, I mean, you have the individual ones like the E4 or or not E4, E3. You know, you got your different Dollar Tree packs. You've got your sample packs, Pop Series. There's all kinds of like little promotional packs, but I get what you're saying. You're probably talking about like within the English language, English printed language, but possibly with different locations and stuff on the back. Outside of WotC, I'm not completely sure other than the holo pack wrapper stuff, but a good person to be asking that kind of thing would be Old School Pokemon. I know he does, he collects all the packs too, so he may have some more insight to something like that. Mark Barnes, do you think that Light Play First Edition WotC cards will become more expensive as the years go on? Are they worth collecting as a poor man's market? I think they're great for binders, so especially if they're holo cards. I mean, even rares and stuff, I mean, you can get a good deal on Light Play stuff, so yeah, I do. That movement is just going to be much less. So if you want to collect it, yeah, I think it's a great option. Citizen Rare, how did you make the leap from opening or operating as a sole proprietor online to incorporating and having employees in a physical location? I never changed. I'm still a sole proprietor. I've always been a sole proprietor. And when I had a location, I just opened it up. I mean, there's not really much to it. You got to get a little license for the town, but it was nothing. And when I had employees, you have to pay out certain taxes, and you got to look at the state and federal tables. But honestly, if you just take the time and do it right, you know, for the first month, I mean, it's pretty simple after that. I feel like it's incredibly difficult to juggle all the necessary costs and unknowns to open a physical store, even given that many distributors with certain games will not do business with you until you already have a location, meaning that you have to take the risk and front a huge amount of startup costs before you can even get your hands on any products. Yeah, I had that problem now. I can't get back in with the same distributors I had. I'll let those relationships fade, but I kept a lot of relationships. In fact, I had some way before I even opened up the store. In fact, I had distributors reaching out to me through places like Facebook trying to get me to do business. That's how dry the desert was for Pokemon. Like, literally, GTS messaged me on Facebook where I had basically no followers. Like, hey man, we'd love to have your business. And I'm like, well, unless you can get the prices down to like $76, I really have no interest. And he's like, yeah man, I could do that. As long as you buy at least 6 boxes, we can ship it to you for free at that price. And I'm like, okay, well, let's do it. And so I took on, and really them and someone else got into competition with each other, and I got it to where, I mean, they'd even ship a single box for that price. Like, that's how bad, you know, it was back then. Like, people didn't care. And now, I mean, you can't even get in if you're offering $1 million. Like, you got to have that store location, because that's just one of the ways that they can narrow out, you know, a lot of people that might be coming and going in the hobby. They won't stick around. And I was able to get into a couple of other distributors just because of connections and people I know. But yeah, good luck. Like, it's going to be tough. You're going to have to open up a physical store. Squilliam, do you have any Score, DBZ, GT cards that you could show in any of your vids? These are some of the nicest vintage cards. If I do, it's just from my dad's collection. I got rid of most of mine. Howard Riley, every PSA and CGC slab I received from the two companies have scuff marks up and down them. Never heard anyone else mentioning this. Am I the only one receiving scuffed up slabs? Yeah, I think it's a part of the process of them putting the slabs together, sonically sealing them. Most of the time it's not bad. This is just like frosting around the edges. You might have a little bit of scratches on the front, but I think there's something called, I don't even know. Go watch Pokemon Flying Masters videos. He does some advertisements for the little spray that you can use to get the scuffs off. Piercy111. What would you do with the PSA 10 First Edition base set Charizard right now? Hold it or sell it. It was bought for 180K. Well, if I had it in hand, it was mine. I'd just keep it. If I needed the money, I mean, I guess I'd have to sell it. If it was on consignment, I'd just sell it. Not a bot. How long does it take before a set is out of print? Because I think there was a recent reprint in Sun and Moon ETBs months ago, and that set was released in 2017. Yeah, I think when Sun and Moon was put into one of the most recent 10s and the ETBs, I think it became one of the longest printed sets of all time. It's up to Pokemon. There's no set amount of time. Choi Vega. Are you going to make sure that any sealed collection is never open? Even after passing it down to someone. So maybe you're talking about mine. No, I can't. I mean, there's no way I can make sure of that. But I already told my family, if I pass away suddenly or whatever, do what they want. I want them to sell the collection if they don't care about it and live and just enjoy life. Even if it means, you know, in 10 years from now they got to go back to work. But, you know, if that gives them 10 years, so be it. Tristan Broadbent. If you live far away from most all TCG conventions, what is the best way to trade slabs? Or should I just buy and sell? I don't do a whole lot of trading. It's kind of complicated and cumbersome. But yeah, you can buy and sell and basically accomplish the same thing. I've only been to one convention ever that I wasn't vending at. And so I really don't go to many myself. Simon Freeling, do you think it's worth keeping Celebration sealed because it's worth a lot in a few years, or it won't be worth a lot? I mean, it could get printed into the ground and it takes forever to come up, but I like Celebrations because I have a lot of fun opening it. That's usually a gut check for me to keep some of it sealed, so I've got a lot of it sealed. Mr. Pancake $3.99. Any way you'd offer a master set of Celebrations since the set is so small? Well, not really right now. I just kind of like this stuff. Just collect it, man. It's pretty easy to get stuff right now, and it's a lot of fun, you know, buying one card at a time. Mr. Step. What items have been in your collection the longest? My WotC boxes, and then a lot of the cards that are PSA graded were graded by me, but then again I upgraded most of it from 9s to 10s, so a lot of the 9s were changed over. But yeah, definitely there's a base set box. There's an uncut base wrapper roll that I've had for a long time. David Bruno, what would you say is the biggest regret in the hobby? Anything you would change? Always enjoy the WotC openings. Brings back memories as always. So the negativity. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people just put you down. I hate what happened to Enlisted Leaf. I know that's kind of a sensitive subject, but I get it. Like, I understand. He probably needed to take a break. You know, whether or not you believe, you know, 18-year-olds should have a right to spend $60 on 3 celebration packs is completely up to you. However, people did. They bought it. I mean, you're buying into an opening, you know, historic opening. And if the price had spiked, you know, nobody would have complained. They'd be like, you got ripped off. It could have went the other way. But the thing is, you know, the death threats and constantly putting people down. Like, I get messages about stuff I have on eBay. Probably not as often as many people. I don't put up with it. I block people in a heartbeat. In fact, the last person who made a threat to me, I mean, I'd sent off to a few people I know, and they had them literally off of eBay within a day. I mean, it was kind of crazy. Maybe they've been threatening other people and had stuff pending, but I don't get it. Like, just if you have a problem with somebody's price, don't buy it. Like, I get it. You know, sometimes you think people are like screwing people over, but you know, a lot of this stuff these prices are really public, and if they're too high, they're not going to sell. Like, if I priced out, you know, these leftover Chilling Reign packs from this box, say I put $300 on this, that's not going to sell. That probably won't sell in the next 30 years. Well, it won't sell in the next 5 years. Who knows? Maybe Chilling Reign will be one of those expensive sets. But, you know, it's still my right to list it for whatever price I want. Because the way I used to see that kind of stuff is, I remember talking with 2 different people. And one of the persons, they both had the same item that I wanted, and one of them wouldn't sell it to me, and then the other one put a super high price tag on it. And of course, the one who puts a super high price tag on it, you're just you're just trying to rip people off. But the thing is, he put a price on it. The other guy didn't want to sell at all. So to me, unless you're trying to go about it in a shady way, or you know, you're doing something like that, really, I mean, I just think you should stay away from the negativity, putting people down, criticizing them for the way they're selling stuff or even buying stuff. Like, I remember I was on ISG and I got criticized for spending $10,000 on the Typhlosion T17. I didn't even know people had a problem with that in the hobby. But one guy goes on a rant, or he would not middleman a product. Like, he wouldn't let me middleman a product for another guy who couldn't get the product otherwise. And I said, hey man, what's your problem? Like, why won't you ship the product to me so I can get it to him? And he's like, oh man, I'll talk with you about it later. And then next thing I know, there's like 12 IG stories about he's effing this and gee, I mean, all kinds of cuss words, talking about how I'm the stupidest guy in the world, inflating prices. Like, I bought a T17, which is Typhlosion first edition PSA 10 from Neo Genesis at $10,000, which was a record price. And yeah, it had an auction a month before where nobody bid on at $7,000. This time it come up again, $7,000 with a $10,000 buy now. I went ahead and hit it. I did not want to chance somebody else buying that card. And we haven't seen one go for less than cents. In fact, I think I heard that guy actually paid like 50 grand for the same card later on, which is just nuts. I mean, and to me, I did not understand why he had such a problem with me buying that card and putting it in my collection like I was doing something wrong with the hobby. And so for me, the biggest regret in this hobby is the fact that people get so jealous and they hate on other people and they get mad because they can't buy something. Like, it's a Pokemon card. At the end of the day, if everything burned down in here, I'd be really sad that I lost a huge collection. But you know what? I don't need it. Like, I could still wake up the next morning without a single Pokemon card that I have. I could still be TCA gaming now. I just have to start over. It'd be completely different. It'd be definitely different videos. You guys probably wouldn't want to see any of my crap, but that's just the way it is. Pokemon is not a necessity. It's not like I'm withholding bread or toilet paper from you, which I hear that stuff is getting pretty scarce again. And then, yeah, that'd be the same thing I'd change. But I'm going to pause again now. My wife told me to call her, and I'll get back to working on these last, hopefully, half of pages. All right. Now, hopefully, I don't go hoarse. Just tried talking with my wife on the phone. It wasn't working out too well. Alright, so I think we have another one here from Katie Cribbs. What are your top 3 most expensive cards? What are your top 5 favorite cards? Well, I think I talked about the top 2. After that, probably the Shadowless base, or maybe the Tropical Wind from the Burst set. The Tropical Breeze, that's what it is. What are your top 5 favorite cards? Tropical Breeze is going to be up there. Charizard. I like the corrected Blaine Charizard because I pulled that one, and you guys saw me pull that one. I like the Mewtwo from Expedition, and I like the non-FPO test Alakazam. What card took the longest to obtain? Whew. The Verse series, the English Verse series for like a set, I guess. An individual card for like the Charizard set was the Legendary Treasures one, but I didn't like pursue that one that hard. I always knew where one was available. And there's several other cards that took a long time to obtain, but there's still more that I'm going after. Like, I need a Ghost Pikachu PSA 10. I want that Ninetales No Damage PSA 10, but I don't think anybody's going to get that out of that dude's hand. What card have you been trying to obtain the hardest that you still haven't been able to? Oh, looks like I just answered that one. Pokepacks is Jumbo grading for $50 open now. If so, can we send to you for submissions? No, it is not, and no, you cannot. I'm not taking submissions. I sent in some Jumbos, and they actually, if you have a Jumbo ticket, you can submit express for $50, but an actual Jumbo card has to be submitted on the $150 level. Big Lee's Pokeworld. Where do you get your collection from, like eBay or other places? Because I used to think PokeRef had a crazy collection, but then I did some research on you and your store and videos I've watched. It's amazing, man. But anyway, thought I'd ask since you're giving the opportunity. A lot of it's eBay, a lot of it's people who just reach out to me directly. Sometimes I stumble across collections. What I used to do, for the craziest finds that I had, there were certain things that I would look for in somebody who started selling on eBay, and if they matched those certain few criteria, I would ask them, hey, are you a WotC employee, or are you connected to one? And you'd be surprised how a lot of times you can run into that, and they have stuff tucked back that they don't even care about. And I'd ask about uncut sheets, I'd ask about memorabilia, things that people typically wouldn't think to sell on eBay, and that would open up the door, and then it'd go from there. And that's honestly how I met some of the most like internal people, employees or whatever that had just collection set back. AF NGL, I was under the impression you had like 200K. I don't know what NGL means. But yeah, I wish I had 200,000 subscribers. I think when you get 100,000, don't you get one of those little plaque thingies? Man, that'd be kind of cool if I could get to that. But at this pace, it'll take me another, like, what, 5 years. PokeRave, what is your best Pokemon card? Keep up the good work, man. Best? I don't know. I mean, the most expensive ones, going back to the Charizard and those 2 Charizards from my PSA 10 collection. Flex Washington, what is your most memorable pull growing up? It's actually probably Yu-Gi-Oh! I would say I'd pulled a Black Skull Dragon from a Metal Raiders booster box. I remember opening up a Neo Genesis First Edition box that my dad bought me, but I can't remember too many of the pulls. I do remember pulling Typhlosion, I do remember pulling Meganium, but I don't think I got the Lugia. Ethereal Phenotype, what do you value your entire collection at? Again, kind of going back to what was said before. Ivan Villalba. What Pokemon do you think needs more recognition in the TCG? Probably get some more Pichus. We haven't had one of them in a while, right? I think it's Pichu. Pichu's had like a long streak. Kay Johnson, hey Rusty, when it comes to buying sealed WotC boxes, are there any eBay sellers you would recommend? I would check any box that you buy really from anywhere. Collector's Cash has always been great for having WotC boxes in stock, and they've got a lot of experience looking at those things. I know a lot of you had some beefs with that email they sent out, but again, it was just a $30 subscription course, we hashed that out in the video, the goods and the bads about everything going on there, but they are very reputable, and I would say Dave and Adams, they've had boxes before, but I don't know how experienced they are with pulling stuff in and out, but I know some of the guys that are over there, and they've dealt with those boxes a lot. Usually big names like that, I mean, if there's an issue, they'll back it up, if something does come out. But even if you bought a box from me, check it. I've got stuff I can compare it to, but even individuals like myself, I mean, we can make mistakes. I mean, I don't think anybody's a master right now with how good these counterfeits are. The ones that I have seen recently, you can still tell that they're fake, but I don't know, if they tweak that wrap a little bit more, it's gonna be tough. All right. See, DPD19, do you think Celebration's product will increase in price over the next 5 years, better or similar to Generations? Yeah, I do. I think it's going to do better than Generations. Generations was in the dumps for a while. It was only this past year a year and a half that it took off. I mean, Elite Trainers got reprinted so many times. I think Celebrations, if Pokemon has the capacity, they'll probably reprint the crap out of that set, but if they don't, they don't. I think that's just going to kind of speed it up. Dylan Holla, hey Rusty, my question to you is, what is your opinion on Topps Chrome? Mainly talking about Spectra, Sparkles, and Technos. I think Topps Chrome is already really niche, and then when you start getting into Spectra, Sparkles, and Technos, you get even more niche. I would say, of course, Sparkle looks the best, and then you have Techno, which is the rarest. So Spectra, it's probably on par, less than the regular Chrome. The Charizard's going to bring a little bit more because it is inherently more rare, but usually not many people really care, that much of a difference. In general, I think Topps Chrome looks good. I like Topps Chrome, but I still have to acknowledge it's still very niche. Blender Son, I'm passionate about Pokemon and I want to make it my career some way. How much time and work do you have to put into selling cards to make it a full-time job? All of it. It took me a lot of work, dude. And I work really fast and very efficiently, but it wasn't always like that. And I think you're going to have to run that much harder now because it's out there. People know you can make money. Back when I was doing it, I was running so hard and so fast, and people and I didn't have much competition. Like I said, I could get in with any distributor that I wanted to back then, but now, I mean, it's so hard to even do. You literally have to have a physical store. Lorenzo, I probably missed it, but what is the first product you bought, and do you still have it? It was a base set box. I still have plenty of base set boxes. I don't know if I actually have that specific box anymore because I remember going through this past year or two and weeding out some of the less minty base set boxes, and I may have actually pushed that one out. Mr. Step again. What was your first graded card in your collection? In my collection, I'm not sure. I can tell you the first card I graded, I'm pretty sure it was actually a Charizard, the first edition Charizard. I had I think it was a 15 card submission maybe. It was most of the holos from base set, but there was 2 Charizards, and there was also a Charizard EX from Fire Red Leaf Green. I think I only got 3 10s on it, yeah, I think I only got 3 10s. It was a Gyarados first edition base set, the Fire Red Leaf Green Charizard EX, and then one of the Charizards from base set first edition. So it was a heck of a first submission, and I'm proud of that. Dragon Rova. What's your biggest regret for buying and for selling a specific trading card? Well, I mean, I can tell you, I remember not buying a lot of stuff, and that kind of haunts me more than the stuff that I did buy and did sell. But a specific trading card, probably selling the base first edition Charizard for $1,600 when I did, and then selling it the second time for $3,000. However, I would not take it back because I may not be where I'm at today without that funding at the time, because that was a lot of money in the hobby. Payment me, are you going to sell your personal collection eventually or pass it down to the family? I've already got some of the stuff in my will for family and for friends and goddaughters and godsons. I know it sounds kind of crazy. I'm 31. I'm a godparent for several people. But yeah, I want to pass it down. But like I said, if somebody come and offer me $50 million, yeah, I'd sell it. Let's see, Mickle Madison. Aren't you nervous about having so much value stacked in your home, especially since you're well known? It would take so long to steal this stuff. Like, so heavy. Like, I can't even get out the things that, the racks. Like, they're fitted to the room. But I'm not that well known. I'm really not. People in fact, if you somehow got my address and you tried to come here, you'd probably get lost on the way, because it's the United States Postal Service does not even deliver to my home. Just to give you an idea. Focus Scrub. What's some good advice for new collectors who don't know where to spend their money? I mean, it really depends on how much money you have. But, for example, if you have $5, go buy a booster pack, throw it in your closet, wait 20 years, and see where it goes. I promise you it's going to do better than double. As for, amounts beyond that, I mean, you got to be more specific before you can go into all that. Datal. In general, do you think a PSA 8 first edition or a PSA 9 unlimited card should be worth more? No specific card, just in general. I think the market dictates that. We've seen prices come down. I mean, this time last year, they were at basically their all-time highs, and now we've seen a sharp decrease in that price. John Craig, what are your top 5 favorite WotC sets and your favorite card of each set besides Charizard? All right, I'll give you my favorite set, which is Expedition, and then the Mewtwo. Mr. Michael Bowl, do you invest in any cryptocurrency? I do not. I still don't really understand it. Kyle Simpst. Hey Rusty, do you think it's best to sell sets as a full collection or split them up and sell individual? This can actually vary. A lot of times individual will get you parted out more money, but sometimes selling as a whole does bring a little bit of a premium because people have to do less work. But then also you have to do less work. So if you're on a time crunch, definitely sell as a complete set, but you're going to have to analyze the set too, because it can actually, I think it can change. I used to do different strategies for different sets. David Bluebird. Hello, my name is David. I was always curious why was Haunter a Holo rare? I know Dragonair and a handful of others was rare in Stage 1, but why Haunter Holo? I don't know. It was a rare in Fossil, which meant it also was a Holo. It wasn't that way in base set, where although Haunter wasn't rare, it was an uncommon. So I guess for the Fossil series, it was just they thought I should do a little bit better. First spin Magic Slot Channel. Is there any item card you own that you will never sell? There's stuff that I'll sell last, and it'd probably be the box collection. Valhalla Industries. What has been the most expensive Pokemon purchase you have ever made in your lifetime? Probably the Tropical Mega Battle set. The English verse set. not going to say how much it was, but it was more than the first edition base set sheet, which was more than the Shadowless Charizard, which was more than my first edition base set Charizard, and they're not worth in that same order, now. I actually probably value the sheet probably the most. Lucky pulls, do you think Amazing Rares will be regarded similarly to things like Gold Stars in the future in terms of value and collectability? No. Or go the path of Prism Stars and lower value cards. I think they're going to be better than Prism Stars. They're not going to be Gold Stars, definitely not. Maybe a closer comparison, maybe like Primes from the Heart Gold Soul Silver series. Like those went down. They've come up quite a bit, but I think they're actually maybe a little bit better than Primes. They're better than Breaks, way better than Flares, or I think they're better in collectability in terms of collectability than A Specs, but maybe not in the value department, because those hold a lot of playability value. All right, Pokebay, what's up, boy? That's my nephew. His name's Trey. That's where I told you guys could go view his channel and see a couple of videos on my vault. What trading card or collectible would you be willing to eat a whole jar of pickles for? It happened. It's just not happening. I can't even think about that. That's disgusting. Harry Baker, what's your favorite non-WotC era card? I don't know. I'm trying to think of what I have. I mean, I've got a Lucky Stadium, the 9th Lucky Stadium. This is Japanese, but that's still like WotC era, I guess. Somebody mentioned that Staff Evolution Charizard. I really like that one. I like the first secret rare, Charizard. I guess Shining Charizard was a secret rare. But the Dragon, EX Dragon Charizard is pretty nice. Was that the last question? Yeah. Alright, Arnu 33200. Do you know if there is a nice book around the first generation cards, especially the first one in Japan? I've heard people talk about that Silver Bible thing. I don't know about English side. It used to be this red book. It was about this big. I'm trying to remember what the name of it was. There were several that had good pictures of Pokemon stuff in it. Gosh, I want to say it started with a B, the name of the book. I can't think of it. Me and him and me. What's the lowest PSA grade that would hold value? A 1. That's the lowest PSA grade you can get. Ivy, since there are so many crazy expensive cards on your channel, are you rich? And do you live a rich lifestyle? Just curious. I mean, I guess you could say I'm rich. Yeah, I'm way better off than I was, but I still live in a double-wide trailer. I mean, but I built a basketball court in the middle of the woods, but I did most of that work myself too. I don't think that I live a rich lifestyle. I love eating at Little Caesars, getting a $5 pizza, McDonald's. Now, when I can, I'll eat steak, but I mean, I like cooking my own steak. I don't like going somewhere, pay $30 for a steak that, is only 8 ounces or 12 ounces. Like, I get hungry, so like I go for the pound steaks, and I'll probably eat the leftovers my kids don't eat. So I live a very hungry lifestyle. I eat a lot of food, but I honestly, I don't think that I live a rich lifestyle other than Pokemon. Yeah, I mean, I live pretty lavishly in what I buy and sell, and I get to see a lot of really cool things go through my hands, especially with consignment now. I get to see some very high-end cards, come in and out. Other than that, I could live as a minimalist, man. Like I could get down with that. Andres Padilla or Andres Padilla. Sorry, man. I probably butchered half of these. How much do you think the value will be for Celebration's greatest cards, as well as how big for the pop for 10s could get? It's gonna be a huge pop, no doubt about it. I just sold an Umbreon Gold Star, $811. That's gonna that one I can see coming down and then coming back up later on. Just might be a while. The Mew, I think it went 600 and some. The Mew EX was like 3 something. The birthday Pikachu, I can't remember. And I sold a PSA 9 of Blastoise, Umbreon Gold Star, Venusaur, and Mew-EX, all for $200. And those are going to come down too. But right now it costs $150 to grade, so it's going to be hard to get it cheaper than that. Brian, what is your favorite Pokemon Wizards of the Coast set? Expedition. Then again, I like the Black Star promos as well. Johnny Casino, is it true you take tractors as trade consignment for Pokemon cards? If so, why? Just out of curiosity. I would take it for trade. I wouldn't sell it, no. But yeah, if you want to trade me your working tractor or your dozer, or what I really want is a 333G. Yeah, if you guys know what that is, man, it can basically have all the different attachments to it. But I'd love to have a mulching blade. I'd love to have the 6-way quick attach for the dozer blade and the grapple. And I really like working with my hands. I like working with that kind of stuff and pushing over the trees, grading out the land, coming back, so on. I mean, it's just all kind of fun. Like an actual tractor, I don't have much experience on, but I'd learn. Like, I didn't know anything about a dozer when I bought it, and learned how to grade the land. And it's been a lot of fun. It's definitely something that can get my mind out of the business track of life for a few hours. Waste a lot of diesel, but man, you accomplish a lot. Like, you get a lot of work done too. What's your first purchase for your collection that you will never sell? I think I've mentioned various things in this question that has come out, but something else just come to mind. Probably that uncut roll of wrappers. I'd love to keep that. I got that from Rock, Carolina. He's back on eBay again, and he was an integral part of me getting started. What do you think the No Stage Blastoise doesn't receive the same prestige as No Damage Ninetales? Why do you think? Because I don't think it is as rare, and you can still probably pull No Stage Blastoise, but No Damage Ninetales, I don't see that happening. Like, it's almost determined for sure that it come from theme decks, and those things have glue stains on them. So what has been graded is probably all that's going to be graded on that thing. For me, the Ninetales has always been more rare than the No Stage Blastoise. However, the exact numbers we really don't know, but I think it does hold a pretty good prestige. And if we see a 10 go through, I'd be surprised, if it didn't hit $10,000. As for the No Stage Ninetales, or No Damage Ninetales, if that one went through in a 10, it only takes a few really hardcore niche collectors to go after that to make something go expensive. Jason Legg, hey Rusty, what's your favorite Pokemon card artwork? It's the Mewtwo from Expedition. Eon Raikou, do you think reprints of certain cards will get more common? Kind of like Yu-Gi-Oh? I don't know. Pokemon's always done a really good job of not reprinting stuff too much, but I hope they expand out a base set a little bit more. Tyler Carter, show your top 3 favorite artwork cards. Well, there's the Mewtwo. I don't even really know if I have too many beyond that I consider for top artworks. It's just I've always known that Mewtwo specifically was one of my favorite artworks. Pikachu Weeb, what's the most money you've ever spent to buy a single Pokemon card? And for a single card, it was probably that Shadowless Charizard, where you guys know I spent over $100,000 on that one, because I had mentioned it, but I didn't give you guys the exact number. Hey, Mama. She's down there. Exercising, getting her hip moving. The Golden Bullet. I love the vids, man, and my question is, if I could get a shout out, because I'm sure you know how it is to be a small YouTuber like me, and I really need a boost. Anyways, I love the vids and keep up the great work. Well, do you guys want to sift through the comments? The Golden Bullet. Triceratops, if you could choose any other Pokemon besides Charizard to collect, what would it be? Currently, I'm trying to collect all PSA 10 Vikinis, English and Japanese. Maybe Kadabra, because he's pretty easy. Pikachu would be a goal. I know there's a few people out there who do that, but there's so many Pikachus. Wow. They gotta have to stick with Kadabra. And then maybe ease into something else. Alright, Vincent DiCardo. Hey Rusty, what's the one thing you regret not buying that is now worth a crap ton of money? You can also tell us the short or story of your Black Label Charizard that your daughter pulled for all the viewers who haven't heard the story. Okay, so not buying be the Trainer Deck Bees. They are worth a crap ton of money now. I had an opportunity to buy 10 plus. Basically, I'd give them how many I wanted to buy at $75 a piece, and these are sealed Trainer Deck Bees. The Misty deck, go look it up. They're like minimum $5,000. They're probably closer to the $10,000 range each. For the Black Label Charizard, my daughter, I gave a pack to open up, and the one pack she opened, she was like twisting and torquing, and she couldn't get it open. And so my wife finally just popped the plastic off for her, pulled out the card, and like, watch it be the shiny Charizard, and there it was. It was the shiny Charizard, and I got it. I was like, man, this thing can be bent all up. And somehow she didn't mess it up at all. In fact, it looked perfect. So perfect that I sent it off to BGS, which you guys know I rarely grade with them. And it did. It got the pristine black label, and it was the first one in the registry. And in fact, there's a guy on Instagram who's been trying to get that thing off of me for a while, and he's been offering quite a bit over market. But just haven't let it go yet because of that. Otherwise, I would have sold it. Splooshy, I know you don't like pulling muck from fossil packs, but you actually dislike muck as a Pokemon in general. Or does the dislike just come from being the bottom of the barrel of fossil rares and hollows? P.S. Muck is my favorite Pokemon. Probably just from being the bottom of the barrel. I don't really have anything against it other than anytime I see Muck in a set, usually it's not great. Muck and, what is it, Aquapolis? I mean, it's not great. Not good in fossil either. And then I remember from the theme decks, the theme deck hollows, for the longest time, those were the hollows you did not want. They were the most common. You could find them everywhere. And that's really the only reason. Sean B, does your wife and kids ever open up Pokemon packs or collect the cards? Would you make a video of opening up packs with them? Yeah, sometimes they do. My wife used to do with every set. Every set I would open up and I would sell the singles, and we'd sit down for a day or two and just literally just crank through them, sort them, open them up. But as for, just for fun, my kids really haven't got to that point yet. And my wife doesn't share an interest, actually, like an actual interest in Pokemon. 8 Magic. How many people do you think actively buy Pokemon product? Millions. So to clarify, I mean new or open singles, lots, etc. People who are into TCG strictly, and who are collectors strictly, and both. What do you believe the total population truly is? Obviously it's a guess, but I think it is interesting to hear your opinion. Thanks, Rusty. Millions. Richard, how did you become so Poke-rich? By dedicating my entire life basically to it. Not really, but dedicating a lot of my work life for almost a decade now. 4 years or so when I was in college. A lot of time reading up, gathering information, setting back things that I knew were tough, having a genuine interest in collecting, having fun with it. It didn't happen overnight. It didn't happen in a year. They said it takes, 10 years to be a master of something? I feel like you can master stuff faster than that. But even today, we're finding out new stuff in Pokemon. Benjamin B, what set is your favorite and why? Still going with Expedition. I like it. It was the first e-reader set. It was I don't know if it was the largest set at the time, but it had to be pretty close. It had the first true reverse hollows. It had my favorite artwork with the Mewtwo. Still had Charizard. In fact, it had 6 Charizards. Probably the most. Yeah, it was the most Charizards up until that point, because you had 2 or 3 in Gym Challenge. You had 4 in Team Rocket. You had 4 in base. Yeah. So 6 in Expedition. There's a lot of reasons I like Expedition. I love the color of the box. It's orange. What other orange boxes are at least like that? It's almost like a blaze. Met 7 Games. What's up, man? You still got your black triangle boxes? With the current prices and minimal options PSA is offering, do you foresee any short or long-term effects on the prices of already graded cards? Meaning, do you suppose the high grading costs will cause a stoppage in populations on cards due to less submissions causing an increase in price? I found myself buying graded cards that were $150 to $500 instead of buying raw to grade just due to the $150 plus grading price, and the risk involved as the grade fell short of what I was after. Yeah, there's a lot of that going on, especially with newer cards that people are trying to collect for sets. People like me specifically looking for Charizards. It's going to be more worthwhile for me to buy some of these cards that just aren't worth it once they come back from PSA. Someone else has already taken that risk, got the 10, and I might pay $300 to $500 versus paying $20 to $50 for the card, submitting at $150 plus shipping and insurances and stuff, and then it gets a 9. And then I'm out of all that money because nobody's going to want that card in a 9. So yeah, I believe there will be some of that going on. fact, some of it still goes on today with cards that aren't new, but that people need for collections. Like, I believe there was this Bandai Charizard artwork card that I was looking up. PSA 10 I could get it for about $500-600, but the raw card was like 35, and it was from 98. I'm like, yeah, I could buy that card and I submit it for 150, and maybe I'll be $200 into it and get a 10. But if I don't, like, nobody's gonna want that card in the 9. I can't get that money back. And then I gotta buy another one, or I just go buy the 10, and now that 10, instead of costing $500, it's costing me $700. So there's a lot going on there too. Benjamin B, what is your chase card at the moment? Probably the no rarity Charizard, but I'm not like super hard pursuing it because I have that 9 to halfway satisfy what I want. But there's several Charizards I'm after. Like, I'd like to get the VMAX, kind of like mini trophy Charizard out of the way, but I'm not really looking to spend more than $10,000 on it. I think we can see that card come back some. I've seen a few go between 12 and 15, and there's a few cards like that I'm just kind of waiting, just keeping my ear to the ground. Ashton Bray, I'm looking for a Legendary Treasures booster pack. I want to buy one from you if you have one. Sorry, bud. Although I did put a bid in on a Legendary Treasures box. Maybe I'll win. Jade Rabbit, how do you feel about the current sets getting so heavily printed? Are they worth investing into? I don't know if they are getting heavily printed. I think the demand is just eating it up. And I don't know if you've noticed, but like even Champions Pass, probably the worst offender of like a middle set. Even those elite trainers back up to $90, and they got printed pretty hard, and people complained about them so much. But even that one's back up to $90. So that's why I think Celebrations, which to me is a much better set, and it has an elite trainer that's better because it has a great promo, but it also has other packs incorporated into it. To me, I think in the long term, like it's a better play. So yeah, I don't know if I see the heavily printed thing, but it's coming. I bet one day we'll get there. But if we don't, Pokemon's playing it smart. Hera, Amy, best investments in Pokemon right now. Come on, man. Yeah, there's just too much going on with that question. Henry is a beast. 42. Favorite card, favorite set to open. Favorite card in the Mewtwo from Expedition, and favorite set to open. I like opening Expedition, but like right now, I mean, probably one of these sets like Hidden Fates or Celebrations, just because you've got a good chance at hitting something that you really like. Like with Yu-Gi-Oh, there was this Legendary Collection Mega Pack. Man, I liked opening those because I would hit vintage cards, and I didn't care that they were reprints. I was just having fun with it. What's kind of crazy about these questions of best investments and favorite card? When I did this little kind of like career day interview Zoom type thing with my daughter's school last year, that was what. Actually, that wasn't with my daughter's school. It was with a public school because like they weren't letting people come in person. That was what every kid asked. What's your most expensive card? What's your favorite card? What's the most you ever spent on a card? Like that it was the same kind of stuff that they asked, and kids just loved it. Like they'd come up and they'd ask the same question 3 times, even though they were all in the same class and they could hear the answers. And so I think that's just something in general a lot of people like to ask. Like they want to know, how do you do what you do, and where are you really at? What's your best card? What's the top? Where's the cream of the crop lie at? So for those of you who have been asking the same question and I've answered it over and over again, I hope you don't feel bad if I try to glaze over it or go through it really quickly. It's just, if we've already said it, we've already said it. It's probably not going to change. But if I do think of something different, I will. All right. Toby G, has Pokemon become a business for you rather than a passion? It's a little bit of both. What I do is when something within my business is no longer a passion, that's when I try to phase it out or I try to change it and pivot. I did that with grading. When I was taking in submissions for other people for a long time, I actually really enjoyed it, but I didn't like it, so I stopped. Kind of same thing with the pack openings. It got old. got tired of managing all of the booster packs and taking on liability and how much stress it would put on getting the videos done. So I pivoted, and now the consignments I just do is the auction stuff, which I'm having a lot of fun with. James Cooper, yo Rusty, why you called Rusty when you got no ginger hair or beard? It actually got a little bit of red hair in here, but so Rusty actually come from Rusty Wallace. My parents gave me the name Russell, which is my birth name, because my middle name is Everett after my grandfather, and my last name is Oakley, and it was for REO Speedwagon. That's who they liked at the time, and then they started calling me Rusty because we were a fan of Rusty Wallace. So there you go. Snacks. How did it all started? Well, started in college, and I just had a passion for the game, man. Buying and selling, buying and selling, buying and selling. Actually, selling, then buying. That's what happened. I had a little bit of a collection and real small scale. Probably year 4, to give you an idea, year 4, my total yearly sales was about $5,000. And that's when I decided to take it on full time. That's how confident I was in making basically no money and being able to live off of that. All right, Luke 3, congratulations, man. Why? Thank you for what? For the 50K? I appreciate it. Noah, we have seen rare shiny Pokemon like Shinies and Gold Stars become Tier 1 cards. What are your thoughts on SLs from Call of the Legends? Very low pops in PSA 10, around 20 on average. Is there a hidden gem with great potential, or is the shiny subset at a fair price currently? I don't know where the prices are. For the longest time, nobody cared about these cards. But it was Gen 4. I mean, it was the same way with Gen 3 at one point. And yeah, I think they are tough to get 10s. In fact, I think I sent off an entire set of them. Possibly with some bulk before it closed out. But in general, I believe the fan favorite was the Rayquaza, the black Rayquaza. I can't really remember after that. I just remember that one people really liked. Jochin VDT, what is your main job next to YouTube? So YouTube is actually just like a small portion. The main job is selling on eBay. Doing the consignment stuff now. You've got YouTube, there's Instagram, there's the website, Patreon, doing stuff like this. You got advertising through Google, YouTube, Troll and Toad. Basically all this stuff kind of adds up, but it started with eBay and then I just kind of expanded it as I went. But I've never been technically on a payroll for somebody else. I did work for a guy in Greensboro where I learned a lot of construction and most importantly my work ethic. I remember from the time I was 16 to about the time I was 21, I gave up my summers and I'd work with him. And I remember one summer, it was the most intense summer. I'd be up by 6 a.m. in the morning, and then I would be at work by 6:10, so I had 10 minutes to get ready, eat breakfast, then I'd be outside doing stuff, and usually he'd be ready by 8, and then usually from 8 to 5 I was on the job site doing something with him, whether it be running electrical or painting or doing something like that. And then when I come back, I would work from the time that whenever we got back all the way till 9 o'clock at night, and then usually there was about 10 minutes in there for supper, so I might take more, but on average I would have at least the 90 hours in the week because I would work 6 days and I try to get in those 15-hour days. And then like the most hours I think I ever worked in a week was 103 or 108 because you could still pull in a couple hours after I come in at 9 inside if you had shells for me to build, or they just didn't get to their housework or whatever. And the most hours I think I ever pulled straight was like 54 out of 56 hours, and man, that was pretty nuts, doing H&R blocks, recoloring, doing the wiring and that kind of stuff. But the reason I say all that is because I learned a work ethic that was, I believe, at a different pace than what a lot of people do. Because I worked for $7.50 an hour, and I would give $100 back towards rent, even though I really didn't eat much. I just needed a place to sleep. So I would make about $500-600 a week. But to me, that was a lot of money, and that paid for my car insurance, and it got to help my parents with their car insurance. And it was really nice. Like, I got to work under this guy who worked, if not as hard, if not harder than I did, but he passed along a lot of knowledge. It was almost like I want to say entrepreneurship, but it's not that, where you're like a intern. I don't even remember the name of it. Basically what people used to do back in the day where they worked for somebody for free but they'd learn the trade. I think it starts with an E. I don't know why it's blanking out of my head right now. My voice is quickly going hoarse. I do not talk this much normally. Alright, moving on to the next one. Tom Bystander, favorite Umbreon artwork. Well, I love the Gold Star artwork, but I don't know, that one from Evolving Skies, it's pretty good. Gosh, the original is good too, with the moon in the background from Neo Discovery. Pokemon Pull Patrol. Have you ever traveled to Australia? No, I've never actually been out of country. Taylor Smith. Can you sell me a clean, light Quapus pack? If you were bidding on the auctions, you probably might have won one. Steve. This man did not answer a single question. Huh. Oh yeah? Jordan Japan. What is your collecting end game? I don't know if I have an end game. Maybe for WotC you have all the PSA 10s. Including the non-hollows and the rares. Man, there's no way I can ever get to the end game. Like, it's just so... I think I set goals that were too far out there, to be honest. Seeking the Truth. MetaZoo pay you to promote them? No. I'll take payment, but no, they do not. He did send me those sample packs and the Kickstarter stuff back in the way, in the beginning when there wasn't any worth for it. In fact, I didn't even know I had those clear sample packs. And he was telling me I did. I was like, man, I don't know what you're talking about. And I had thrown them in a box where I keep like fan stuff. And I still have them now, but no, they don't pay me. Mezger makes and grows. How many uncut sheets do you have, and do you have any that aren't Pokemon? Yes, I've got a first edition LOB Yu-Gi-Oh sheet, which I'm very proud of. You can see it on the on my eBay. It's overpriced, but I'm not selling it. And I've got a secret rare unlimited for LOB. I think I've got some kind of magic sheet that's misprinted and a few other random magic sheets. But as for Pokemon, I'm kind of looking at them. I think I've got over 100, maybe 60 to 80 different ones. I really don't know the exact number. Why is this is from Upset. Why is Japanese Pokemon products so much better quality and so much cheaper than English? I think you kind of got to look at which product you're talking about for being cheaper. But as for better quality, it's almost always been better print quality. I mean, you have to talk to them about that. Why maybe English doesn't just want to spend that extra money, but it ended up making a lot of the PSA 10 prices more because it was hard to get them in minty mint condition. And then, in general, the same products are cheaper because they're just, especially over here, they're just not in as much demand as the Japanese product is. Like, English product in volume is going to outpace the Japanese product. I would say that like English Pokemon product is going to be that much more printed too, but to me Japanese Pokemon product is more like a safe bet, and it does have a lot of potential because it's still limited on the product, whereas English is usually a little bit more risky. Different products have different higher potential, but for the most part you're going to see a lot better chance of saturation with the English stuff. GG, do you follow Jesus? I most certainly do. In fact, that's what I try to meet on Tuesday with a guy. I was meeting at, it was a Mexican restaurant. We usually get lunch and we talk about the study I'm doing is G3. But that's why I ended up going over to GameStop. There it is. I was going over to GameStop because he was running behind, and he actually texted me when I got there. He was like, "Hey man, I'm gonna text you when I'm on my way." And I'm like, "I'm already here." So I got to eat a whole thing of chips, while I was sitting there waiting. Jesus might call me a glutton, but my body's doing okay so far. And if it ever does start packing on, I'll have to watch what I eat a lot more. Just call me Quentin. Do you think one day you will sell your collection and retire, or will you leave it for your kids or inheritance? Love your content always. Hope your family is doing well. I think it can go either way. I have no reason to sell right now. One thing that's always scared me about inheritance is I don't want my kids to ever think that they don't need to work for things. I'd love to spoil them, but I believe that you still got to have an attitude in this world where you don't deserve the thing like they don't deserve the things that I earned, and they themselves still need to find their own way and they find their own path and not just live off the money that I could potentially. I mean, I could take care of them the rest of their life. I'm gonna probably take care of my mom and my father-in-law now for the rest of their life, but it's different. They're aging out. Like, it's not because they couldn't. Well, it's not because they don't want to take care of themselves, because essentially they can't at this point. And it doesn't make sense in the way the system's set up for them. But with my kids, they can find their own way. And I want to be there for them, and I always love them, and they always have a home here with me. But I don't want them to feel entitled to anything, even the stuff that belongs to me or belongs to my wife. And really, it doesn't even belong to us. We're just stewards, and that's why. Whether you guys know it or not, I'm really big on giving back, whether it be to this community or to the people that are around us that really have, different types of needs. I mean, Pokemon needs, that's like an oxymoron. I mean, you don't really have a Pokemon need. Whereas, I mean, you really can be cold because you have no place to sleep tonight. Or, our area isn't as affected by that kind of stuff. Whereas I realize in big cities, I mean, homeless shelters and that kind of stuff, I mean, it's, like, I don't, it'd be hard for me to live in the city, knowing how much need there is compared to a place like where I live, where you might have, somebody standing on the corner every now and then, but you can literally pull out a bag from your truck that has food already prepared in it, and you can hand it out to them. Whereas you might not be able to do that in the city because they're everywhere, and there's just so many of them. And at some point, you don't have enough to provide for everybody, unless you're Jesus and you can do the loaves and the fish. But I guess my faith isn't that strong to where I can do that. But yeah, I know that was again another side tangent. But eventually, yes, I may sell, but I may just let them inherit it. I don't know. Right now, we don't. I don't have a move, to make with that money if I was to sell it. So it doesn't make any sense. All right. DL Lawn Thug. I have asked this before, not seen it answered. Do you have insurance on your collection? This is going to sound weird, but I kind of like self-insure. I set back money for that kind of thing. But I've always been weird about buying insurance from some other place that has no idea about Pokemon and then relying on someone else's expert opinion on what my collection might be worth if it was in a fire or something like that. Because to me, that kind of feels like you're just throwing money down the drain. In general, I'm against insurance. I think it's just kind of like a way to hedge your bets, in favor against yourself. But it's necessary for some people and for certain places. So I'm not going to tell you guys don't get insurance. There's probably plenty of ways that you can get insurance, and it's a good deal. But for me, I can't say that I won't ever get it. I may. But to me, I personally don't carry like an insurance from say Farm Bureau or something like that, or Geico or Aflac. Crouching Fetus. Since you've been opening up a lot of it recently, what do you think the long-term outlook for Celebrations is? It seems like high pull rates and a lot printed. It doesn't seem like it has the same appeal as Hidden or Shining Fates. Long-term, usually that means minimum 5 years. I think the long-term outlook is good. But again, I can't predict the future on that. To me, I like it a lot more than Shining Fates. And, a whole lot more than Shining Fates. And I like it more than Hidden Fates. It's got a good variety through the generations. I've heard S.M. Pratt, Mr. Scott, talk about how it doesn't really have too much of a set identity. And, I kind of understand that. But I like the fact that they mixed in the different eras. And the set isn't humongous. It's not like insane to complete. Like you've got 100 cards or so, or 75 cards, right? Is that right? Yeah, you got 25 set cards and another 50 from the Classic Collection. And then you got some promos. So for me, that's a lot more doable. It reminds me of a Classic Collection where, base set has 102 cards, Jungle has 64, Fossil has 62, Team Rocket has 82 or 83, and then so forth. It's not like you need 433 cards if you want to get all the at that point it's almost impossible to do. Maybe I should have said, or Howard Riley, maybe I should have said smudge marks. Not sure I follow. Maybe from a different question that was before. Recon Phantom 17. Why did you start YouTube? First video was started just to document the FPO packs, and that was pretty much it. Rune, all-time favorite set and all-time favorite card. Do Expedition and the Mewtwo from that set. CP Cool's trading card games and stuff. Nice video. Yeah, hey man. Hi, hello is usually what you post there. Tyler, 60K you mean? No, I meant 50K. I probably won't do a 60K. But you could have said 63,000, whatever it is, and it could have been the same thing. Alessandro Brunetti, do you think I am handsome? Well, I can't see you, so I don't know. But I'm not the best judge of character on handsome men as well, since I am attracted to women. Dick Dickerson, sorry, my name is like that. Don't read it out loud. But have you ever been into the video game at all? Well, I'm sorry, but I read the name first. The video games for Pokemon, not really. I did the Game Boy games, but none of the video games. I did some PS1 stuff. I like playing Spyro. I like the Need for Speeds. Gran Turismo. I like Gran Turismo. Tony Hawk Pro Skater. I played some of that. I don't know, there were some random games that I played. There was this one that I was bought just to have. It was Bust a Move. Basically like this little thing where you shoot bubbles out. And there's a lot of games online about that basically copy the same thing, but it was one of the first ones. Bismo Funyuns. Generally speaking, which sealed products do you think have the most potential for future growth? WotC packs, EX boxes, Japanese exclusives, moderns. Also, what is your top favorite pieces in your collection? Usually, I'm going to say the most potential for future growth is going to be the stuff that you're going to keep the longest because you like it the most. And like for me, that would be the top favorite pieces of my collection. Just to give you an example, that uncut base set wrapper roll or whatever. Brian at Rock Carolina, he bought it for $50. He traded both of them. He actually had two of them. He bought, I think he paid $50 for each. Traded both to me for a first edition Shining Neo Destiny set. Maybe $10,000 now ungraded. But there's probably 1,000 wrapper rolls, sets of 3 at least, on the big roll that I eventually later got from him as well. Or I eventually got the smaller roll, but to say on the big roll, say conservatively, there's 1,000 of those. Even at $10, it's worth $10,000 now. But I typically sell them between $300 and $500. And those have only went up from where they started at like 50, or they started at like 25, and then they went to 50, 100, 200, so forth. And not everything's like that. Not everything's like that. But a lot of times the stuff with the most potential as well is the stuff that starts out super low. Like I have promos that I paid a dime for, like the Intays. They're worth $25 now, or they're worth $20. You might be able to find some for 10 or 15, but they're sealed. So like even if say you sold them for $10, that's 100x. But not everything does that. Not everything goes in that direction, that extreme. So, but because there's been plenty of things that I bought that really haven't seen any movement at all. So I try to diversify and get a little bit of all the things that I would like. And if you hold all that stuff long term, then usually it turns out for your good, especially in 5+ years. And then the last two questions, Jack Kane, what are D's? I don't know. And then Mach 275 says yeet. Okay, well, you guys got the first two questions, I assume, or the least thumbs up ones. But that's it. There's the Q&A. I answered all of the questions that were posted. Again, if you posted the last couple of days and I get to your question, I'm sorry, but that is it, and that is probably it for my voice. I may not be doing a video for a couple of days either. Thanks.